Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome to the channel. My name is Daniel, and today I want to go through my portfolio as it stands today, August 4th. So, looking at the overall return here of the day, we're looking at almost $100. Been a good day. For the week, we are up by 2%, $364. By the month, we are up again almost 3% at $506. 3 month is 2.18%, 386. And for the year, same as the 3 month, seeing as we started around June 9th to June 10th investing. Overall, the portfolio is looking good. Obviously, I want to state here that I do not have 18K currently invested. I do have a small amount of buying power, and as well as for the option trading here, we do have collateral. So overall, the portfolio is looking good. I do have stocks or investments in about 57 companies, which I do believe is a little too over diversified, and I don't recommend that to anybody else. So I am looking to reposition myself, more or less buying more into the companies that I believe in, whether it's for dividends or growth, and also to sell out on some of the positions in companies that I don't believe in long term. As per my previous video, I did do some questionable purchases or orders or investments initially, which I'm looking to get out of, and I have since then tried to reposition my overall strategy to just make sure I invest where it actually makes sense. Despite it being a green day, I did make quite a few purchases, trying to dollar cost average or just increase my investments in some of the companies that I believe long term. So as you see here, I do a lot of fractional share buying, and it's such a great way for myself to buy into companies or at least increase my investments without having to pay the full share price at the time. Obviously, it can go either way. If I buy, let's say, a Microsoft share at 212 and it goes to 240 the day after, it's definitely gonna hurt. But the other way around, if I buy a full share at 212 and then the day after it dips to 180, so in the end, for me it makes sense. I did also do some options trading today. One, I put a put credit spread on Microsoft. I do believe that at the time that I placed this order, it might have been trading around 220, and I got a nice $11 credit out of it. I did put in a put order for TNA, which gave me a credit of $32. Looking at this credit spread for Apple, I do believe that the share price was around $436 when I placed it. So there's a nice delta between that and 415 or 420, and I got myself a nice $20 credit out of it. Going down the list, you'll see that I just made some initial fractional share purchases, and I did the same thing yesterday. When it comes to when I buy stocks or at least increase my position in some of the companies that I already own stocks in, I simply look at the share price, does it make sense, and then an overall analysis of all the individual companies. With that being said, a lot of these companies I'm a believer in long term, so great that we're getting all these stocks at what some people might consider discounted prices. It's not going to discourage me from buying more stock at a later point in my investing endeavors, even if the pricing that we see today might be very different by then. So as a long-term investor, and especially a dividend investor, I obviously want to track my purchases and my positions in the specific companies that I place orders with. And in order to do so, I've created my own little spreadsheet, which I usually update once a week. Sometimes it's even daily, depending on how much time I have. So it's super difficult for me to give this a proper introduction, seeing as it's still a work in progress. I'm still figuring out with myself how I want it to look, what do I want to call out, how do I want to track it, whatever it might be. One of the latest modifications I've been working on is company logos. And as you see here, I haven't gotten very far. But let me show you just an example. So we're on Johnson & Johnson right now, and we want to insert their logo. So you just go insert here, image, image and cell, Google image search, and you go J&J. And obviously, you may get more hits if you were to search Johnson & Johnson, but I'm satisfied with this one right here. And you go insert. And there we go. It's super small right now. I don't know how to change the size on it. That's something I want to work on. Another addition I'm working on making is how to track industry. And I obviously could go in and manually input all this for each of the companies, but I want to wait for this to track it automatically. So that's at least something that I want to work on in my spare time. So obviously I'm not going to take you through the process of inserting all these logos. That will just be a waste of your time. I'll just have to do that on my own time, and then hopefully I have a much better result by the next video. But what we can do now is we can update the number of shares here based on all my recent purchases, and then I will show you exactly what that tracks. So for now, I'll go ahead and delete it and just start here with at&t. Oh, I even made a mistake here. So this is where, one, it becomes super annoying with fractional shares, and two, with a portfolio of this many shares. All right, then that's done. So normally I only put 2 decimals. However, if it makes sense because I know it's gonna round up, or just because of me not being lazy, I'll add in another decimal. But when that's all said and done, what I've done here is inserted all the numbers of shares that I have with each of these companies based on all my recent sales. And again, as you probably figured, I try not to update this every day because even if I buy shares every day, updating it day over day over day over wouldn't make much of a difference given the amounts that I'm purchasing. But as you can see here, what I'm most interested in is what sort of impact it has on, one, my portfolio allocation and my annual dividend. This sheet automatically tracks the dividend yield. We got the market value based on the number of shares and the share price as it closed. And then we have the expected annual dividend amount, which is pretty much calculated by the number of shares and then the dividend yield or the annual dividend. With the next column here, which is also my next column, I just have estimated monthly dividend, which pretty much just divides the annual dividend in 12. What's smart about this spreadsheet is that it automatically tracks whether a dividend is in place or not. Sadly, it doesn't tell you whether the dividend is not there because it is something that the company doesn't offer or because they've cut their dividend. But again, doing research around all these companies, I know, as an example, Tesla doesn't offer dividends, and for Boeing, sadly, they cut their dividend. Okay, so scrolling down, now it's automatically captured, and again, as you can see here, I've just highlighted blue everything that doesn't have a value tied to it, meaning that they don't give dividends. So at least for this overview or this look, I do not care about the blue ones. But I do want to know what impact it has on my annual dividends and monthly dividends that I've increased my numbers of shares in these companies. So I do believe this was maybe $32 before. So by me buying over the last couple of days, we now have a total of 34 and 93 cents dollars as estimated monthly dividend, which is great. That is super weird to think about, seeing that when I first started, I was getting maybe a few cents a month. So this is just great now. That's understood that I haven't invested in a long time. So I'm just trying to increase the portfolio size, and hopefully this will only go up from here. So as you can see here, the market value sums up to be a little over $11,000. And what you saw from my Robinhood update, or at least the portfolio breakdown there, is that it's supposed to be over 18,000. But again, the 18,000 includes collateral that I have for the options, and it includes the buying power that I have just standing there ready to be purchased with. Alright, so with all that said and done, again, this is a work in progress. It's just unfinished, and I'm probably gonna keep updating this for as long as I'm an investor, since there's always new things we want to track, or what we liked the year before we might like in a different way the year after. And as you can see here, I do have a lot of other sheets that I'm also tracking different things for, and I'll try to go more in depth with those and show you how they are. But again, similar to the first portfolio breakout here, they are a work in progress. Alright folks, that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time.